So if you guys want to learn how to make this amazing bowl of gumbo, stay tuned.
Yeah, man.
Hi guys, it's Mama Monica with Sweetwater Garden Creations. How y'all doing today? I hope you're doing fine. Guess where I am today? I am in the commercial kitchen at the Little Farm Store in Seymour, Missouri. I do a lot of my testing at home in my little tiny house, but when I actually come, when I'm ready to, after my recipes have been tested and true and ready to go, the owners allow me to come here and create in this amazing space. And I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. What I'm doing today is, with the weather being so cold and frigid, I decided I wanted to cook something warm and delicious. And I've been thinking a lot about my grandma, Mama. So I decided to, why don't I make a big old pot of gumbo the way my grandmama used to make, Mama. And the type of gumbo I'm making is a Creole style gumbo. It's different from the Cajun style. My heritage background is, the Creole is actually African American, Native American, and Cajun. So it's a mixture of those cultures. So that's where you get the okra from Africa and the spiciness from Africa with the green onions and the celery, or celery, the way my grandmother used to say it. And so we'll be incorporating all of these. Let me just kind of go over some of the ingredients. Here we have red pepper, we have green pepper and yellow pepper here, and we have celery as well here. And we have white onion and some garlic and green onion. Now the green onion goes in last. It gives it that extra burst of green flavor at the end. And we also have some andouille sausage. You can put whatever type of sausage that you want. I heard some people put some hot dogs in it. Don't y'all ever let me catch you put no hot dogs in no gumbo. That's some crazy stuff, yeah. The type of gumbo I'm doing today is I'm going to have some seafood in it. We're going to have some shrimp in there. I put a little bit of andouille sausage in it. We're going to braise some chicken. We have to pre-season it. And okra also goes in it, and some stewed tomatoes. Now my grandmother's probably rolling in her grave right now because we never put tomatoes in our Creole gumbo. However, I kind of like it, so I'm making Mama's gumbo with a little bit of my twist in it because I love the taste of the stewed tomatoes. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do, guys, is I need to season up my chicken. And I've already pre-cut the chicken. You can use white meat or dark meat. It depends totally on you of what you want to use. What we have here is a mixture of both. We have the white meat and the dark meat in here. So I'm going to get over here and season it. And you just want to lightly season it, just a little bit, guys. And I'm going to season it with a little bit of salt, a little garlic powder, and some black pepper. And you don't have to put a lot in, okay? So I would say maybe, because you don't want to put too much in, because your sausage has a lot of salt in it, so you don't want to over salt, but you just want a little bit so you can give that meat some flavor. Just put a little black pepper in here as well, and a little bit of garlic powder. Actually, a lot of garlic powder. I like garlic. It's good for you. Keep the vampires away. No. All right. And then you just kind of mix it to get all the seasoning. Some people put their hand in it, but I don't want to get my hands full of chicken meat, chicken juice. So you just mix your chicken. And what I've done is, actually I'm going to put it on this one. Actually I'm going to leave it on this back burner for right now. Put this on high. And what I did is I cooked up some bacon earlier today, and I didn't want to waste that. So I left the crusties in there for more flavor share. And I'm going to braise my chicken in this oil. So I'm going to wait for it to get hot. And then I'm going to pour my chicken into the hot skillet. We'll pre-cut all the vegetables to have all of that ready to go. But again, the most important part of your gumbo is the roux. So you have to pay close attention to this. And it's easy to do, but it's time intensive and it's a slow process. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and put my burner on high to start with. And what I use for my, when you make your roux, it's a mixture of your fat and your flour to start out with. And what you're doing is you're browning the flour in the fat. And you'll see as we progress, it starts off just white flour, but as you continue to stir slowly and let it slowly brown, you want it to brown to a beautiful mahogany color, like the color of duck. You want it above that color. It gives it such a nuttiness to the and richness to your broth after you do it this way. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and put my I need to get a spoon. I'll just use this one right here. You go ahead and you add 3/4 of a cup of your fat into the skillet. Okay. And then you want to wait actually until, oh, this is it. Let's turn that down. This is live. Go ahead and get your chicken in here. Oh, that smells good already. And you just sear your chicken. Get it going here a little bit. I just wanted to get my skillet hot and get that in the skillet. And then I'm going to move it and put it in the oven to let it finish roasting. Slide that in like that, sugar. Okay. Okay, so now we got our oil going, and see it's already getting hot a little bit, and that's what you want. Then what you do is you take 1 cup of flour to 3/4 of a cup of your bacon fat. And you don't have to use bacon fat. It actually gives your gumbo much better flavor if you use that. But you can use canola oil or vegetable oil or whatever, but it tastes so much better. And then you just add your flour in. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And again, this is the most important part of your gumbo. You got to get this roux right, chef. It's so funny when I'm making this type of food, it seems like my grandma comes out. I think that's kind of funny. I do that a lot when I'm doing her food. You have to make your roux good, chef. So you just keep stirring. You want to make sure it's nice and blended well, and your flour is incorporated well. It smells so good, guys. You want to be sure you scrape the sides. Scrape the sides. Ah, burn myself. And you see how it's starting. If you can see there, it's going a little bit too high, so you're going to turn that down. And if you see it's cooking a little bit fast, you stir faster. But make sure this stuff don't pop on you because it's very, very hot and it burns. So you turn it down. I got it going the way I want it to go. But you want to turn it down because you want to go low and slow. Low and slow, just getting it going. So this is probably the consistency that you want it to be. And just take a look at that. That's what you're looking for. See how it's bubbling? I'm going to let it set for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. Let it bubble, and then you might be able to see how it's starting to brown a little bit. It's a slow process. And again, you know, I can't emphasize how important this particular step is. And this is the hardest part as far as standing and stirring. The other stuff is just prepping your vegetables, and you got to do that anyway. So again, I'm just going to keep stirring. This is the boring part, y'all. Okay, I'm going to turn it down a little bit lower. And y'all see how quickly this goes, so I'm going to go real fast. And I'm going to use my wooden spoon for this. Now, where's my sausage? Excuse me, I got to get. I find that if you caramelize your sausage a little bit, and this is the andouille sausage, it's so much better if you caramelize it, kind of brown it a little bit. It gives your gumbo, again, a much richer flavor. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop these in here. Put this over here. Awesome. And we're done with this. I can put this over here. Actually, I'll put a little bit of bacon grease in there just to get it started. Slide this over here. Okay. Check it out. Stir that roux. Let this go and pop in here. And check this little bad boy out. Let me get my handy dandy hand mitt. So let's stir this up a little bit. And again, you're just trying to just brown your chicken. You just want to braise it or roast it a little bit to kind of seal in those juices. Oh, it smells so good, guys. It's coming. All right, so I can put it back in here again. All right, let me get to my roux. Check it out. Can you see how it's beginning to brown a little bit? Process, but you have to be real sure to brown it evenly, because again, if you get those little black chars in there, it makes your gumbo taste burnt. Who wants burnt gumbo? So take the time to do your roux. And another tip, guys, since it's so labor intensive to do this or time consuming to do this, make maybe 2 or 3 cups of roux at a time. And then you can store this in a jar in your refrigerator, and then you'll have your roux already made. And you can use it for gravy. It's not just for gumbo. You have your a spoonful of your roux to make gravy, your gravy and rice, or gravy and potatoes, or whatever you need. But you see how I'm putting a little brown on this on these little sausages? You want that you don't want them burnt. You do want them caramelized a little bit, because again, it gives your gumbo so much more flavor. Get over here and stir my roux again. You got to stay on that roux. Now, after your roux is done, all those vegetables that I have in the front there, the trinity, your bell pepper and your celery and your onion, I'm going to chop those up in the food processor here, because you don't want them in that big chunks in your gumbo. So I'm going to chop it up real fine, and then that goes in the roux. You cook your vegetables probably about the last 15 minutes before you put it into your broth here. And just keep on stirring. And I'm going to turn this down a little bit more, because I don't want to lose control over this roux. Okay, let's get back over here and stir our sausage again. And actually, you can do all of this ahead of time, guys. You know, chop all your vegetables up and chop up your slice up your sausage, and you can brown all this ahead of time. So when you put your gumbo together, it's like bam, 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 bam. I'm going to turn this up a little higher, because I want it to caramelize a little bit more. Get back on this roux. And ideally, guys, it's better for you to go ahead and do your roux by yourself without fussing over the other pieces here, because you run a high risk of losing your roux. So I would suggest, if you're making gumbo for the first time, that you do your roux first until you get it down pat. So here we go. Keep stirring. All right, let's go back down here. Chicken, and stir the chicken one more time. See how we're doing in here. Looking good. Looking good. All them juices coming out, and you save all those juices too. All of it. All right, let's slide this back in. Oh, there we go, baby. All right, let me get this over here. Awesome. Let's check this roux.
I'm in love, girl. I'm in love, girl. I'm in love, girl. I'm in love, girl.
Boy, this roux is looking good. Looking good. Okay, I'm going to just turn it around for a second to go ahead and start chopping up my vegetables. This is that Trinity I was telling you about, baby. And what this is, let me tell you about we're going to put the actual ingredients and how much everything is in the description. But the recipe calls for 1 large onion, but I like onion a little bit more, so I added a little bit extra onion, so maybe about a 1.5 onion. Same thing with the bell pepper, about 1.5 bell pepper. The different mixture that I have here. Let me get back over here and check my roux. Gotta watch that roux check. Yeah, but what I'm going to do is chop up all of those vegetables really fine, and they go in the roux. This mixture, once it reaches almost where you want it to be, because you only cook your vegetables for about 15 minutes in the roux. So just keep stirring. Check this out again. Now some people, will put crab and oysters and all kinds of other type of seafood in your gumbo. And again, when you're making gumbo, guys, you can kind of put what you want in it. And again, today I'm making shrimp, okra, sausage, and chicken gumbo, the way my mom used to make, with the exception of the tomatoes. I think she'll forgive me. What you think? Yeah, I think she will. She might like it. If she could taste it. Oh, this is looking good. See how it's rendering? Looking really good. Keep stirring that sausage. That roux is starting to look good. It's still not there yet. But you see how it's progressing. And again, you want to be sure you get all the sides, all through. Make sure your spoon touches every part of the bottom of that pan. That is looking good, chef. That's some good roux, yeah? Awesome. Check out this andouille. This is not like home, but it's close. And this is my favorite spoon that came from my sister Jane. She says that I cook with love. I think that's my gift, because I do. Whenever somebody's sick or somebody is hurt, I cook and I feed them. And I think I get that from my grandma, because my grandma did that. We feel bad, and I know you're not supposed to associate food with feelings, get fat and all that stuff. But that's how my grandmother also showed love to us. She would make our gumbo, and she'd make her homemade bread. I remember running home from school, halfway, maybe 2 blocks from home. I smell the bread. We all break out and run. My mother made some light bread. So we'd run, and there she had a big old pan of bread with her homemade jelly, big preserves. And I think that's where I do a lot of my preserving and things, because It just reminds me of my grandma.
It's like candy for my eyes. Loving girl, my little loving girl. Loving girl, my little loving girl.
All right, we're back again, guys, and I'm still cranking in this kitchen. The roux is still going. We got our andouille sausage all caramelized and yummy and ready to go. And I'm checking out the chicken. Again, it's not. I'm gonna have to crank this up a little bit because I want it to brown just a little bit. So I'm gonna kick it up to 400 degrees because I want it to fry a little bit. Okay, so that's done. We check out the roux again. That roux is looking really good, y'all, but it's still not the color that I need it to be. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over here. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on my vegetables again. Isn't that pretty? And look at Christmas in a processor. I just want to kind of chop it a little bit. Not too fine. About that consistency is perfect. And just put that in there. Okay, that should be enough of, hold on, Chef. There we go. That's enough bell pepper there. Now let's grab a little bit of celery. So we're going to put about a cup of celery. That should be enough right there. Okay. In the same process, you just want to juicy. Check that out, see? About that consistency. Pop that in here now. Let me check my roux again. Gotta check that roux. Stay on top of it. See how you can look? See how it's starting to brown a little bit? Each time you stir, it's another layer of wonderfulness. I'm gonna leave it at a low flame right like that until I finish this. And then you get your onion shell. And you put this on here first. And again, you want about a cup of onions. That's my preheat going. And you put your garlic in as well. I put 3 cloves of garlic in here, and about 1 cup of onions. Okay, in the same process. I'm gonna chop that up. My grandma used to sing all kinds of jumbo like crawfish pie, filet gumbo. She was always singing, talking about her fine brown frame. Miss my grandma. We had so much fun. Okay, so after your vegetables are done, take a look at that. You got this is your trinity. You got your onion, or like Mama said, your onion shell and your celery and your green pepper. And then you just keep it going. We're not ready for this yet. Let's put our onions in here. So we'll be ready to put it in our roux. Okay? I guess I should use a spoon, but your fingers work fine too. Isn't they clean? Okay. So that's the vegetables that you're going to need for your roux. We'll put this aside. But that's the veggies. Let me go ahead and use this. Oh, that looks good. Looking good, Chef. Okay, and just again, I'm going to crank this back up a little bit more now that I have my vegetables done, so I can really focus on this for the trial, for the home run. Bring it home. Now, again, I won't suggest that you guys do this because you're newbies. But I've been doing this for a while and I learned from the best, Momo. So I can crank it up a little bit. But just be careful. And just keep stirring. Come on, crank it up a little bit more. And let me check my broth here. And I started off with 3 quarts of water for your chicken stock. And again, I cut all the meat off of the chicken, off the bones of the chicken, and I put the carcass in here with some onion and some bell pepper. Did I put bell pepper? No, salt and pepper, green onion, and bay leaves is what I put in here. And that's just to give it a base flavor. And then once your roux is done, then I'm going to have to drain this, take all the bones and stuff out of there and strain this broth, because I don't want all the bones and stuff floating around and they make you gumbo ugly shit. So you pull all the bones out, and I think the dogs might like it. Okay, I'm going to check my chicken again. Oh, it's looking good. Oh, it's hot. It's looking what's the fire now. See how it's just braising, that means it's locking the juices. And see all the juices that's in there? Don't throw that away. You pour all of that into your broth. That's extra flavor, y'all. Okay. Here. Get back on this roux. Oh, let's be cautious. You gotta hurry. There we go. Check it out. Keep it going brown, 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 brown. Let more of that fine brown frame, sugar. Keep it going. Okay, I think this is to where I can go ahead and put my veggies in now, which I'm going to do. It's brown enough. This is still not the color that you want, but this is the level, this is the point where you can add your vegetables, because you want your vegetables to cook. So it's probably going to cook probably another 15 more minutes. Stir it one more time, and then drop all your vegetables in here like that. Mix all that in. Oh, look at that. Woo! The sauce is going to be good, Chef. Oh, this smells so good. Reminds me of my grandma. Turn this down a little bit. Okay, it's a little stiff, so I'm going to add, when it's stiff like this, guys, add a little bit more oil to it. It's a little stiff. So I'm going to add just a little bit more oil to it to loosen it up some. Okay, and this is still not brown enough. I want it a little bit more brown than that. Where's my oil? Put a little bit more oil in because I want it to cook a little bit longer. So let's say I add another tablespoon of oil. And when you're making your roux, you just kind of have to watch it. If it gets too thick, you just loosen it up a little bit. Now some people like their roux right about this color. I like mine a little bit darker than this. But see how it's browning up real nice, y'all? Like that. Now some people like it really, really dark. This is kind of getting close. Oops, sorry about that. This is getting kind of close for me. So let it keep going. All right, let me check my chicken stock again. See this old hen? Good stuff though. Look at how rich that broth is. Yum. Put the bay leaves and everything in there. Awesome. It's almost time to drain this. And I'm trying to really you know, to make sure that you guys can see this. Again, this is the most important part of your gumbo. Now, for some people, this is dark enough. Not for me. I need it a little bit darker than this. So it's a little bit more time, but it's so worth it, guys. If you take the time with your roux, and this is what makes your gumbo, the roux. It's a labor of love. All right. I'm going to put our sausage in here because I have to saute the okra. Because you don't want to put just your raw okra in your gumbo. Because it's raw. And you want to cook some of the slime out of it. And I know that's why a lot of people don't like to eat okra, because it has that sliminess to it. Now granted, I don't put a lot of okra in my gumbo. And my grandmother taught me a trick of how you cut a little bit of the slime out of your gumbo. You use a little bit of white vinegar. So, let's go ahead and get our skillet hot again. There's a little bit of oil from the andouille there, but we're going to add a little bit of, just a tiny bit, just to get it going. Not a lot. I know you guys are saying that's a lot of grease you're putting in there, but we don't eat gumbo every day. Okay, so it's all right a little bit. Let's see, what was I going to do? Oh, we need to get the okra. And you take your okra, and this okra I grew from my garden at Sweetwater Garden Creations in my little tiny homestead. You want to get your skillet hot, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of onion in here too, to add more flavor to this. Because when I make like an okra stew, and actually my grandmother taught me this one as well. I call it shrimp aux îles. My grandmother's name was Odelle, but the way you say her name in French is aux îles. So I call it shrimp aux îles, and it's kind of like a jambalaya, and it's with shrimp and rice and tomatoes, and it's yummy, and okra. So, there. Just a little fine chop like that. And you're going to put your okra in that. And put some onions in with that. With a little bit, just a tiny bit of that. Excuse me just a second. And what you do, don't let it freak you out, guys. If you don't like okra, you'll see some of the, I don't know what you call this stuff. I don't want to say slime, but it's glutinous material. I don't know what you want to call it. But this is so good for your gut. This is so good. And I understand that eating okra naturally lowers your blood pressure. So this is a healthy vegetable you have. Anyway, you just start sauteing your okra. And here's your vinegar. You need maybe about, I want to say let me double check. I think it's about 2 tablespoons, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. That's right, 2 tablespoons. Okay, so this is a teaspoon, so we need 4 of these. And that should be enough. And again, that's white vinegar. And it helps cut the slime. And you just slowly cook your okra. You see how it's kind of clumpy right there? Not clumpy, but the only way you can describe it is slimy. But you cook it down a little bit, and it cooks a lot of the slime off of it before you incorporate it in your broth. There we go. Oh, that roux is looking good, Chef. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn the roux off now. This is right about where I want it. Okay, and I'm going to take this off the burner because I want it to stop. Where's my other hand? Excuse me. I want to take this off the burner because because I don't want it to cook anymore. I don't want to risk it burning it. So just take it off the fire. Just put it aside. There we go. And while that's going, I need to go ahead and drain my chicken. I think I'm going to have to pause for that because it's going to be hard for me to drain the chicken, you guys see. So we'll take a break for that, and when we come back, I will show you the rest of the process.
It's like candy for my eyes.
Hi guys, I'm back in the kitchen. We got our chicken broth coming to a rolling boil now. Our roux is done, ready to go. And again, it could be a little bit darker, but this is kind of how I like mine. But you can make it a little bit darker. And what I've done here is I've already sauteed the okra with a little bit of onion. And see, it's not slimy no more. And the trick for that, guys, is a little bit of vinegar. It cuts that slime off. So you get your okra without all the slime. So what we're doing now is I've already went through the rest of the dry ingredients that we need, the rest of the seasonings here, and I'm just going to tell you what we put in here. I just pre-measured it in the cup right here, guys, so to kind of save time. What I did is I put in Cajun seasoning, and I use this particular brand because it does not have MSG in it, because I'm real sensitive to that, and I know a lot of other people are sensitive to MSG. So I use I think it's a couple of tablespoons of that. It'll be in the descriptions below. I also add some more bay leaves, about 4 bay leaves, into the mix. Dried thyme, that really gives it a nice, I don't know, it just adds something to the gumbo. So you add some thyme into that as well. And what I'm going to do, I need to add some garlic powder too. Some more garlic powder, because garlic is good. So I'm going to add a couple more tablespoons of garlic. Actually, I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon and then taste it to see how it tastes. I also added some gumbo filet in there, about a tablespoon of gumbo filet, which was this one. And I think I told you guys about that. Gumbo filet is actually the leaf of the sassafras tree. That goes in. So what I'm going to do now is take my dry ingredients and I'm going to mix it into my my broth that I brought to a rolling boil. So you're going to throw all those ingredients in. Hang on a second. Also, it calls for a couple of tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. So I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons, a little bit more. Now, I'm going to crank it up a little bit more because I want it really boiling, because as you add your roux to the mixture, you don't want it to cook into a big old ball of dough. So as you incorporate your roux into the hot broth, you need to constantly stir and break it down, and don't just dump the whole thing in, or you have a big old giant gumbo dumpling in the middle of your gumbo. So we're going to get started. You just take a nice clump of it and you drop it in and you stir. And the flour will actually help thicken the gumbo. And by browning it, you gave it this nice, nutty taste to it. See how you just drop it in and you stir. It smells so good. Now after we get the roux incorporated in the broth, add our okra, add our chicken, and our tomatoes there. I'm going to add a little bit of green onion too to get some more green flavor in there. We're going to let that cook down for about 45 minutes. And in the last 15 minutes of your gumbo, you add your shrimp and the last bit of green onion and a little bit more gumbo filet if you want it. And then I always add a little bit of cayenne pepper to get a little bit of spice in there. And you can make it as spicy as you like or as mild as you like. It's your choice. It's your gumbo, chef. Make it how you want to. Again, another spoonful. Now after your roux is totally incorporated in your broth, now you can add your okra. I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes and that beautiful andouille sausage. It all goes in now. Check it out. Woo! Look at that, chef. Some good stuff. I'm trying to not let it splash so much. Just pop all it in. I'm just going to bring it close in like that to try and get it in there so I don't splash it too much. There we go. You put all the juices that's in there because that's extra flavor. Okay? Check that out. Check it out. Now it looks kind of thin right now, but it's going to have to cook down to thicken up a little bit. And your gumbo filet causes it to thicken up some, and as it boils down, it condenses, and your gumbo will get thick and delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and strain my stewed tomatoes and drop them in as well. All right, get the spoon here, and let's taste this little puppy. All right. Woo. It's coming together, but it has to cook down. All right, so we're going to bring our fire up again. We need to get our chicken now because the chicken goes in here as well. And let's get the chicken. Let's get our chicken. There we go. Yum. As you see, the chicken is the gumbo is starting to boil here. You want to make sure you get all of your chicken in the mixture. Awesome. You got your gumbo boiling again. Look at that. Check that out. Look at that. Yum. Now some people like to put big chunks of chicken in there, and we're going to put shrimp in ours, but some people put crab meat in, big blue crabs in. My niece actually puts snow crab legs in hers. It's all good. Again, you put whatever in your gumbo you want in your gumbo. This is the way I was brought up to make it, and that's what we're doing. So what I do now is we want it to continue to simmer. Making a mess here. Let it simmer because we want it to cook down a little bit, and we want it to thicken, but I don't want to add any more thickeners to it right now because I want it to condense a little bit. So we're going to let this cook for about 45 minutes, and then we'll be back and we'll add our shrimp the final 15 minutes, and then we will be ready to plate and serve. So I'll see you guys back in just a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, guys, here's our finished product. This wonderful bowl of Creole style gumbo, the way my mama used to make, with a little bit of twist. Check that out. We have some rice in there. You got to get a little bit of rice with a little bit of the broth like that. Oh, chef. And let's get a little sausage there, and let's put one little shrimp on that too. Come on, let's do this. Ready? Okay, here we go. Make me want to do the happy dance.
Let me see.